Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of a section of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'll be speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session, and when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means that the answer is coming from the 25th. Now, I want to say that this video is actually a continuation or a part two, if you wish, of video number 14/8, meaning from the 14th session and video 8. What happened was something very unusual, which is that I still don't know why that happened, but the video was cut almost in half because the original video was supposed to be 27 minutes long and it got cut around 40 minutes. And I do apologize if there's noise in the background. I have some repairs being done to the apartment next door, and it's somehow very loud, even though we're supposed to. This is a very old building, so the walls are not paper thin, as they sometimes are nowadays. But for some reason, I still hear some drilling. Hopefully, this is okay audio-wise for you guys. All right, so again, I don't know why the mishap happened with that video, but I wanted to make sure I kind of left you guys on a cliffhanger, and I just want to make sure that I basically re-record the second part here so you know what we're talking about, especially since we're going to go into a couple of dreams that I've had some time ago and that really were quite meaningful, I could tell. And I wanted to ask the 25th about, and they did not disappoint. There was a lot to be said and a lot to be gotten out of these dreams. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start reading here. So the first dream, and this is Lorrayne reading it in the first person, basically the way that I wrote it, was on September 23rd, 2022. I dreamed of, and I cannot say this phrase, but basically it's abused on small people in a ritualistic manner. I didn't see it, but I knew it was happening in the dream. And then either I or someone else, and I can't quite remember, sprouted a reptilian arm. I've never been a reptilian from what you have told me, but I wonder why this happened and what this meant. It freaked me out. I woke up at 4:30 a.m. and did not go back to sleep until 6:30 a.m. It took me basically 2 hours to calm myself down. Then I forgot about this dream completely after waking up the second time, which is very much unlike me. And I only remembered because of a call I had with Carolyn. Carolyn basically called me that day, and all of a sudden we started talking about something else, and I remembered. Is this a past life review, or am I consciously becoming more aware of what's happened on this planet, like we will be on your Earth? And is it important to remember these dreams since we are learning to become Neo at a conscious level? Or is it having these dreams sufficient to integrate this knowledge, so no need to remember them? I wanted to know because I know that we are not all doing the work in the same manner, which is perfectly acceptable. And I wanted to know, is it important for me to remember these dreams, or in general to remember these dreams to do the work a certain way? Me. So this is the 25th answer. Yes, so we'll start from the last question. The essence is always free. There are many essences that choose to still not remember their dreams. However, in Clea's case, she's asking for me to do the work that I want to do, which is right now the work we're all focusing on, which is becoming consciously aware. Is it important to remember these dreams? Yes, your remembrance of these dreams signals to you, and again, there's no right or wrong answer here, but it signals to you, like it signals to Clea, where she is at with the work that she's doing. For example, Clea is very well aware now that she's having trouble with some types of dreams, which means with some types of information. So this tells her where she is emotionally and where she is in the process. And so it is important in that sense. If it's important for you to consciously be aware of certain things, it is important to remember these dreams, because that's where the integration occurs, where you realize, because you have certain emotions in the dream, and then you realize, I had these emotions, which are still very vivid to you. And you realize, what am I doing with these emotions? Again, it's just a signpost. So for example, the fact that she forgot about the dream, that pretty much tells you she was rejecting again. And what type of dream is this? That was the other part of the question. We already said, what did it mean, this dream? We already told her, we were just discussing this. we've been sending her these two types of dreams. And one of them is basically you're becoming aware of what's happened on this planet. Not only, you're not just becoming aware of it as in somebody's telling you a story, you actually see it. You see it, and please know that even in the dream, she did not see it. She did not see it happen. That would have been way, 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 way too much for her. And she knows that, but she was aware of it. But then she saw what was happening, which was, again, reptilians, etc., who was doing this basically. And not only, she thought it was her, because why did she think it was her? Because guess what? We're all one. If one has done it, we've all done it. And this is exactly how we feel on your earth. We'll feel like we were there. When we say you will feel the feelings as if you were there of the person doing it and the person receiving the abuse, this is what we mean. You will be real. You will be all of them, all these people, because really you are all these people. So Clea basically was doing the work. She could not take feeling the feelings of the children, but she did feel the reptilians, the reptilian existence. So she has not incarnated as a reptilian, but at the end of the day, reptilians are us. We are all one. The energy is the same. And so, yes, we're showing her more and more. She said other dreams come up that had to do with some sort of killing rituals, etc., etc. We're bringing them up. She's actually doing better with some more than others. And my note is that is adults versus children. I do better with adults. And even though I'm still not seeing the graphic detail of them, I cannot go near the children stuff. It's just too much for me right now. So I'll continue reading here. So again, she's doing better with some rather than others, but you will notice a pattern where she's not really in the scene. She's always watching as an outsider. And this is because it depends on what she's willing to let in. And this is perfectly fine. Even if she wasn't willing to let any of it in at this time, it would be perfectly acceptable. But she's doing quite a good job of at least trying, being open to allowing some of this in. And I wanted to share this with you the same reason I share all important dreams with you, because not only, as I mentioned before, dreams are a way, and the 25th has explained, dreams are a way to download information, just like BQH and qhht hypnosis sessions. And those are not the only ways. We said many times that, and by we I mean I have said it, the 25th has said it many times, that there are people that do automatic writing, there are people that get messages in songs. I mean, there's a million ways you can meditate. You can do whatever you want to get messages. There is no right or wrong procedure that you have to go through. However, the reason I share this is because, again, we are all dealing with the same work in the background, which is becoming Neo. What does becoming Neo mean? It means that we are consciously aware, or becoming increasingly consciously aware of the fact that we create our reality. That means that the veil is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And what that translates into is that we realize everything that's happened here. Eventually, the veil will be non-existent on your earth. So really, we are using this over time to start getting a head start on the work we'll be doing on yours. And that's why many of us, not all, and that's perfectly fine, it's a choice, many of us are becoming aware in dream state or in other ways. We're becoming aware of what's happening here. The thing with dreams is that when you are in dream state, you are there. It's not something that you can say. It's almost like, again, somebody's telling you a story, you're watching it on TV, even if you watch something on TV, you could become very emotional about it. But one thing is becoming emotional because you know something happened, and one thing is actually you are part of what happened. In this case, I was the perpetrator. I was the reptilian. And it's funny because in the dream, I didn't even know, was it me? Was it somebody else? It can't be me. I really did reject it in that sense. It really did rattle me. For a while, I'm much better with that now. But again, the 25th has also changed tack with me and sent me kind of different dreams to tackle the issues we've had here from different sides. Because the point is, and this is why they continue saying there is no right or wrong way of doing this. The point is, we have to function. We still must function in this 3D reality. We can't just be doing work where everything opens up to us, because we wouldn't be able to handle it. Even our bodies wouldn't be able to clear it. The energy is still too dense here, and therefore that's why we still want a veil in place. And as you know, if you watch any of my previous videos, that's why we have the shell in place. The shell of this 3D reality that looks somewhat similar to what it was in the past. Even the outside shell is not really holding up anymore, and there are a ton of glitches all the time. But we kind of pretend that governments are still there and all these things are still happening just like in the past. We already know that's not the case. It's all a shell. It's all not real. We are propping this up because we don't want everything to collapse, because we don't want to rebuild anything. However, it will all come to a head the moment that we have the recall. And the recall of this thing is what I'm referring to, which is going to happen shortly. And so we'll see. We'll see, how that will pan out. We do know that we don't want to deal with any drama, really. So I'm going to move on and keep reading here. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay. There was another dream on 10/1/22, so October 1st. I woke up, and again, this is me, Claire. I woke up with what felt like a bruised bump on my head, and it was shooting pain down to my neck. Did it have anything to do with the dream I had or astral travel? If so, why would this happen? Me. Yeah, the bruise is related to the astral travel, correct. And basically to the dream that she had. Sometimes these pains are to remind us so we don't forget the dream. I thought that was super interesting. I had no idea, and I did want to share it with you. So I don't know if you've ever had this happen. This wasn't the first time in my life that this happened, but it must have happened maybe when I was a child. I can't even remember when, but it was definitely so obvious this one time. And I'm like, what happened? Like they're getting a fight while I was sleeping. And so that was very interesting. I hope that you find it interesting as well. I thought it kind of surprised me. All right, Lorrayne, thank you. And I'm reading this in the first person as Claire again. In my dream, I had reluctantly let my daughter go watch a movie with someone, and they were going to go by bus, but then they lost track of her. And my daughter is young. She's 6 years old. I was checking on her on the bus and realized that the couple who had taken her was not there, as if they had gotten off and forgotten her on the bus. So I asked a bus stewardess, somebody who basically worked on the bus, to monitor her. But she also got off and left because it was the end of her shift. Nobody seemed to care that my daughter was by herself. So I was left with the impression that I couldn't trust anyone else to take care of her. I had to do it myself to make sure she was okay. I regretted letting her go out without my supervision when she was still too young to take care of herself, especially when I saw her with another child her age and she put her purse under the seat, distracted by their chat, and then predictably forgot it there when they got off the bus. What was this about? And I have to tell you that dream also very much rattled me, because there was definitely something more that didn't just have to do with my daughter. Something was very off. That's how I normally can tell that a dream is trying to tell me something beyond what it looks like on the surface. Me. So this is the 25th. Yes. So we are telling her now that it wasn't about her daughter. Of course, the way that she related to it, because of course dreams come in a form that you can recognize because you can relate it to your life. The way that she related to it is she was filtering through the feelings she has for her daughter. Oh my goodness, my daughter is without protection. Nobody really cares. Everybody's distracted at best. There are all these dangers lurking. And what was I doing? What was I thinking? I'm supposed to protect her, and all those things that you described. In reality, we're telling her this basically was a representation of this planet, of what has happened on this planet. Some of us have played the distracted game. We're just like, oh, I gotta go home. It's not my problem. And this would be your typical person in the middle. It's like, it's not that they are a bad person. They're thinking, well, my shift is over, or they're not really understanding what is happening or how they can help, because it's really not the experience they want. They don't want to be involved. They don't want to see it, but they also don't want to get involved as in fixing anything. That's not what they came here to do. Of course, Claire's role, just like in the dream, is she's a light worker. So she's like, I gotta jump in, superhero style. And not because Claire is a superhero, but this is what we believe at this level that we are here to do, that we have to do. We have to rectify things. We have to protect people. There is also the role of the helpless victim, the helpless person that needs to be helped by us, which in this case was a child. What's more helpless than a child? And of course, even if we want to go more into it, this is what's happened to children in general. They have existed in neglect, meaning that if they survive, it's mostly by chance because, and of course, we're exaggerating to clarify things, but in the sense that so many dangers do lurk and anything could happen really, but somehow they manage to survive. And we know obviously it's because it's the essence that decides. But the truth is anything could happen to any of them. Or this is how we feel at this level of reality. Anything could happen to any of them because these things do exist. It's a numbers game. You know, some of the stuff happens to some of the children. And so basically along these lines, which again was a representation of how life breaks down. So really this would be in the category of dreams that we spoke about when we said we're showing her how life really works here, how life has worked here. It's been almost like everybody's just on this bus moving. Nobody really knows what's going on. Nobody really cares, because even when you ask somebody to help because you think that help is needed, they're like, oh, I'm busy, or I got to do something, and they don't really want to. And then there's you, meaning your team, and you're trying to put out fires. And meanwhile, even the person that you're helping, that you think you're protecting, she's in her merry world, you know, la, 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 la. She's talking with somebody else. You see, that's what we're showing. This is how life is here. And of course, Clea is dealing with her own emotions, because not only she's viewing it in light of this being her daughter, but also the emotion that she has as somebody who has to fix things, as somebody who's looking at this saying, only I can take care of this. Why did I even allow this to happen? Do you see? Does this ring a bell? This is what we've been talking about, the fact that the light workers have felt so passive and so inept in many ways. So we are basically having Clea go through, again, integrate this piece of the puzzle as well. But we do believe this knowledge will be beneficial to many to hear, because again, it's a matter of this is how we feel on the team of the light. We feel like we're the only ones who actually cared, and this is our judgment. Again, we played the game just as well as everybody else. We cared, but we also can't get to everything. We've not been able to fix this, and those are the kinds of emotions that we're dealing with, very much dealing with. I'm going to repeat this because this is basically it's how I had felt, and what these dreams definitely brought up for me much more vividly, so I could look at how I felt without any filters. And I know I'm not the only one. Many of us do feel like this, even at a conscious level, when they think about what's happened here, like how could this happen? How can we let this happen? And I know that all of us in the background on the team of the light have felt this way. So I'm going to repeat this phrase. This is how we feel on the team of the light. We feel like we're the only ones who actually cared. And this is our judgment. Again, we played the game just as well as everybody else. We cared, but we also can't get to everything. So the point here is we must have compassion for ourselves. And I have to tell you, I have since, thanks to the 25th and the messages, some of the messages I shared with you, some messages I will share with you going forward, because I have 2 more sessions after this that haven't even been released yet. But I have actually gotten over this, realized basically that we really didn't mean to. Nobody meant to. None of us. We got caught up in things, especially because of the resets, and weren't able to recalibrate. It's not that there were people that wouldn't heed us. There was some of that, but it wasn't as bad as I felt it. So, and again, I apologize if there's noise in the background. I do hear drilling right now. Hopefully this is okay. All right, I'm going to continue reading here. Especially right now, think about it. We are learning at a conscious level. We're in charge of our reality. So of course, at emotional level behind the scenes, we're thinking, and why have we not done this before? This was the gist of Clea's question when she was asking, how come? Because she was upset when she wrote this question. You probably could read between the lines when she asked, how come we couldn't avoid all of this? Did we learn nothing from the other takedowns? What is wrong with us? That's what was implied by her question, because it's very much the emotions that we've been dealing with for a long time. But she's definitely integrating right now, which is we could have avoided all the pain on this planet had we learned from our other experiences. And now we've explained why that's not been the case, because really at the higher self level, we don't think of emotions the same way. Well, we don't have emotions. But Clea was very much sad and upset when she was thinking of that. And this is what's been coming up. This is what she's been working on in her dreams. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry that mishap happened with the other videos. So I hope this is a good ending to that video, and it was worth waiting for it. And I found these dreams quite telling, and these interpretations by the 25th quite telling. And they do help me integrate. So I hope this helps you as well in case you have been mulling over some of these issues. Thank you as always for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.